We are still at crossroads as we try to wriggle out of the familiar but sad scenario of the 6-month-old strike by members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU. To save the situation, the National University Commission, NUC, has scheduled a meeting with the Minister of Education, Adamu, Pro-Chancellors of federal universities for the 6th of September. Will the meeting break the seeming deadlock? Dari, let me come from the perspective of state universities. Governors are saying that, look, some state universities, they are calling them to come and resume. Lagos State University, I think they're in session. Some other state university, and the agreement at the end of the day with ASUU, will it affect the state university? Now, let's now look at the dimension of the National University Commission and this committee of Vice-Chancellors and the Pro-Chancellors.
Of federal universities.
Of federal universities.
Yeah, well, you see, we are just we are taking a new bend in this scenario. And it's not going to augur well for all concerned, I must say. First, let me start with the meeting called by NUC. It will not break the ice. Rather, it will, and it is already creating more confusion. I'll explain. When they were going to call Pro-Chancellors, Chancellors, and Vice-Chancellors, they did not invite those of state universities because they couldn't have, NUC couldn't have ordinarily. That is one. Two, whatever.
Because the visitors to these universities are
different. They're the governors. Now that takes us back. That simply means that resolution may not affect state universities. That is one. Secondly, it is a pointer to what we've been saying, that no matter how long this strike lasts, this is just the first phase. Because by the time an agreement is reached today, the state university will have to make it bind on their governors. Usually, it will lead to another series of strikes, state by state. And then, by the time the federal universities are spending 6 months, the states will start a fresh one, maybe another 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. And each state will take its own time to resolve these issues. Where will it lead us at the end of the day? Nowhere is the answer. And that's why I keep insisting that neither the federal government nor ASUU has been fair in what has been happening so far. A lot of people don't like me saying this, but that's the truth. I think something is missing critically, and that's the interest of the students. If both parties have been acting with the interest of the student paramount, we'll have resolved this earlier than now. We are having AY, thank God you recall that some of us were student activists back in school. ASUU will not have found it easy having a 6-month-old strike. All we needed to do is to be marching around their quarters on a daily basis. It's our way of telling them we are tired. And in those days, they take our interest into consideration. Immediately they start seeing those matches, they will call us. What are the issues?
47,001 students.
We'll now start all those semantics. And they will ask us, are you tired? We say we are tired. What are the issues, SARS and MAS? They will tell us this is what we're asking for. What has been offered to you? They will say, okay, why don't you take this, resume. Then give us as students a month too to hit the streets, to make demands on your behalf. And we did that several times. Several times, and it worked. Because the government fear our own demonstrations more than the teachers' own. But today, it's as if the students are no longer the center.
No, they're not together again.
They are no longer the center of the discussion, the center of the... If they are, somebody should have shifted ground. Okay, you move a little, I move a little, let's consider the lives of these ones. But that is not happening. And what did we see? When I read ASUU declared indefinite strike, I felt like weeping. My anger is with the federal government. Whatever it takes. You don't have to solve all the problems once. Make concessions. Don't use harsh languages. Be civil. Draw these aggrieved teachers closer. and then let's find a meeting point. But what are we saying? You talk about this meeting that has been called. I see this meeting as an offensive on the striking lecturers, and it is unnecessary. When you start calling the principal officers of the schools, what are you saying? Are you going to ask them to go and force them to resume? To create more problem or sack them? No, that's not what we need.
Oh, Olabisi, now in a bit to break that deadlock, the federal government have tried to penetrate, the unions. So they've succeeded in calling SANU back, that's senior staff, SANU back, and they've called NASU, that's the non-academic staff. But a lot of people will tell you that if it's not Panadol, it's not the same thing as Panadol. Yeah. That it is ASUU. That the students are there to learn. And anything that beyond ASUU, the NASU, SANU, they're just complementary.
The truth of the matter is that without sounding as if one is unmindful of whatever could be the demands of SANU, NASU, and other unions in the university system, nobody really knows what they do. The universities are created for students.
Yes, to learn.
And to learn. And that is the first thing. So once students are not learning, teachers are not teaching, then university is not working. It doesn't matter what NASU or SANU or any other person is doing. So recalling them has no effect.
That cannot bring the student back.
It cannot bring the, because when they come back, are they will they be, is SANU going to teach them? It's not, teachers are the ones that we teach. And back to this meeting that you are talking about, I think we should first of all ask ourselves, what is the agenda of that meeting? What is the agenda? What the feelers we are getting is that, well, not even feelers alone, the ASUU president said it publicly that the minister has said that it will use ASUU to teach unions a lesson. So what is the lesson? And he has also said before that students should sue ASUU. So when you hear such pronouncements, you know where the minister is coming from. So most likely this meeting is not going to be for ASUU. It's likely to be, we have also been told that, well, since other people working in the universities have resumed, that university is not for lecturers alone. So therefore, if some, and don't forget that some lecturers, they said some lecturers have said they are ready to come back to work. And that if those ones are ready to come back to work, then they could as well open the universities. But the government has forgotten that it is not the one that shut the universities. In the first place. The federal government didn't shut universities. So there is no question of reopening universities. ASUU strike resulted in the shutdown of universities. And unless you resolve that problem, you cannot say that we have universities working the way they should work. You understand? So I don't want to believe that the federal government thinks that universities can reopen, that some lecturers can come in and be teaching. How many courses would they teach? How do we get all the lecturers? Do you know how many courses, how many programs are run? How do you get professors, teachers, and all the people that will teach all those
I think there's another union now to undermine ASUU.
Yes, that one has not been formally registered.
Okay.
So it can't even...
from University of Ife.
Yes,
they still go out, they lecture students, but they can't conduct examination.
But they can't. So
they cannot conduct examination. So are they going to lecture for the next 1 year, non-stop?
No.
You see, the point is, the creation of all the encouragement of this new union, the type of invitation Pro-Chancellors and others got, the kind of languages allegedly being used by some government officials have not helped the entire situation.
That's the problem.
And that is where we should be paying attention. Do we want to resolve issues or want to stampede these people to stop this strike, to come back another day?
So immediately, how do we quickly resolve no work, no pay stands by the federal government? And as there's a law in that labor law that nobody is going to be punished for any action during...
Okay, now let's look at this thing. Let's let's look at it objectively.
Please quickly.
Now, okay, what caused this strike? Was government at fault at all? Government is at fault. There are so many agreements reached with the union that government did not implement. So government is at fault. Now, if this strike happened, you should work at resolving it. Don't go back to say that no work, no pay. Like the lecturers have said, the work we didn't do, we are still going back to do them. Or are you saying that once we resume, we should just jump the section that we didn't do and move to another section? You know, it's a very complex situation. So instead of complicating, instead of complicating the matter, let them just.
I would just want to be cautious in responding to that, because if we leave lecturers to go on strike for as long as they like, the students will suffer. So if it will need such conditions to make them resolve issues faster, I will support it. If it's going to take no work, no pay, to make lecturers go back to class in good time, yes, they can ask for their rights, but not just endlessly.
All right, we have to.